Hello everyone, we are Haaga-Helia's Krea digital students and we are here to discuss service design and gamification together with Lucia Nazzaro from Futurice. Welcome, Lucia.
Thank you very much.
It is an honor to have you here with us. Could you shortly introduce yourself to us, please?
Yes, I have now been working as a software developer for Futurice for 3 years. I have actually been working as a software developer for, I would say, more than 10 years. And I have always had an interest in service design, as I think like the work that I do inevitably touches a lot of aspects of people's lives in terms of their experience with digital services. Little bit about hobbies, I guess. It's definitely like studying more about service design, like learning about patterns, trying to see little books that are sort of a Bible, like Don't Make Me Think, and the type of things that we can always learn from others. And when I'm not doing coding for Futurice, I'm working with events such as Mimit Coda. So I guess that's about it, about me in a nutshell.
What kind of education do you have and how did you decide to become a software developer?
Software developer has always been something that I've been interested in as a kid. And it's a hobby that I have been very thankful to turn into a profession these days. But my education has accounting background from high school and then eventually studying marketing at Haaga-Helia.
How did you end up working at Futurice?
I have been working for many years, and this stack and the technology that I have been using was, so to say, getting outdated. And Futurice was offering this opportunity to continue in a company that understands that I do have the competence and the expertise to work as a developer, but just need the time to upgrade my knowledge to latest technologies. So in September 2018, I joined Futurice, and now it's been basically 3 years that I have been in this company. And what I like to say is that I wake up every morning and I'm still very happy to work for the company and work with the projects I am at now.
Let's then discuss service design itself. First, we would like to ask you what kind of company Futurice is.
In short, we like to say that Futurice is a digital consultancy. And what we mean with that is that we try to provide our clients with the solutions that they need that are yes, involving, of course, the creation of products, but also like we want to put the highlight on the idea of the service creation part of them. Like there is a whole cohesive journey that we can take our clients that has, yes, to do with bringing quality products to their doors, but also like in the way these products are created, we try to take an active step in the ways of working and the services within each organization.
How does traditional service design differ from gamified service design? What would you say?
The difference with the gamification service design, I think, is consists substantially related to the fact that of the perspective that the gamification part tries to take place on, like the addressing in a way the goals and objectives in a format that gives you a better sense of accomplishment or has a more visual impact to it that allows people to see like progress does have the difference there. Like it is not implied in I think service design on its own that there needs to be immediate, so to say, for example, visual feed about like progress and success. So the gamification part of it tries to engage people with the idea of rewarding and something that is definitely clearly more defined or more to be expected. Whereas maybe when we think of more of the generalities of service design, these are things that are implied, of course, measured and like taken care of, but not as visually or not with us the same type of focus that the game service design provides.
What pros or cons do you see with gamification in service design?
The pros of a gamification system is like part of it, as I was mentioning, the visual aspect of it might have the perceived sense of like being able to achieve goals and objectives and going through processes in a more light-hearted way, so to say, or like having also a sense of understanding, like there is for you the possibility to both explore a game, so to say, as well as then be able to participate in it. There is a lot of that does bring a lot of value. And the cons that I see is that in general, it's very difficult to challenge people in the way they work. Like there is like in something that I think is a challenge in general in service design is the emotional engagement of people and the things that like people are accustomed to do in a certain way. So I see the challenge both in a way to get into like starting maybe to apply some gamification to what you're currently doing, as well as changing the things within that. Like if you suddenly decide that you want to, for example, use a different gamification method, then you also have to understand that people that have now used this service so far have understood certain things, have an emotional attachment to a specific idea of the game. And it's difficult basically to challenge people's beliefs and like what they have understood so far, what they have been accustomed to do so far.
What are then the three most important things that you should take into account in service design? What do you think?
Like it's probably the type of question that each service design would answer differently. The ones that I could highlight that are very close to me, and I would probably assume one generic, very important one is like know your audience. Like who are you doing this for? That's the most critical thing, because we all start with our own biases on how something should work, but like you also have to take yourself out of the equation in the terms that you might not be the best representative of the final audience your service is for. So I would say definitely knowing your audience is like the most critical thing, and understand like how this can work for them. Other thing that I think is critical is also like, I would say, understand the timeline for things and like what is it, the goal that needs to be achieved, because it's very easy, of course, to say like this is the most ideal service we want, but there needs to be also clear timeline on how this can be tangibly done. And the other thing that is very connected to this is also like the vision itself. And one thing that I don't see done enough times that I believe would help a lot of organizations, when you create a new product, it would be nice to start, say, from the end product of it, when you have all the particular features set up, when you have the whole experience tailored down, when you have a clearer idea of what the final service is supposed to look like, and then to basically go from there, taking the step back to scale it back down to say 90% of what it's supposed to be, then 80%, to get to a point in which you have simplified it enough that it's like actionable in the very first, say, timeline of work that you are supposed to have it. So that's, I guess, basically the idea of proceeding with it in a granular way, and expect also that people are able to do as much.
Let's then discuss Futurice service design board game.
Yes, I am here today to talk very happily about project navigation game. And this is perhaps not the most conventional, say, gamification service design, the way we would intend it. But like when we think about like us trying to propose this game to the organizations we work with, and also in general, organizations that have contacts with Futurice, the idea of this game is to support both the planning of the work ahead as well as the retro sessions. So it's not a tool that is meant to replace either of them, but it's a tool that helps people through basically a board to inspire and in a way instigate more questions related to your product. So the idea within the game is that you can play cards to ask questions, and the people get engaged by basically having the possibility to rate these questions and have like a different type of rating for that, as in like very critical or like potentially a problem, so to say. And the game is so that we have more than 200 cards. Some of them, of course, are meant to be filtered out based on the nature of the project. And the reward comes at the end after you play 3 rounds in which everybody plays a card and then people rate each other cards and have a discussion on why cards have been rated or so. The card that has, say, started the biggest discussion gets rewarded with a reward card, and the person that won basically the round is able to choose like what fun activity the whole team gets to do.
Where did you get the idea for the game?
The idea has come from the fact that in general, which is a problem that you see solved also in different ways, but like to be in the context of these, a lot of the times when you work in a team, yes, the majority of people might be, for example, say software developers, but you also will have in bigger teams, you have, you know, some software developer, designer, project manager, people that all have different point of view on like the things that need to be done. So the idea within project navigation game is to make sure that there is like a way to inspire a conversation within the team to achieve goals or make sure that the current goals are right, actually.
Do you have the game there, or do you have cards or anything you could show us?
Yes, I have actually gone to the office to fetch the game. Basically, when you open it, if I don't make a mess, you will have like the reference guide. The idea that we had within this game has been so that there should not be strict rules to play the game, and potentially, like, you know, based on the time that people can spend to play this game, people can decide, for example, the number of rounds, people can decide to filter out specific type of cards, and basically they have the possibility to customize in a way the rule set of the game. We, of course, try our best to propose one flow that allows people to have an easier discovery process. Then we have like this very overly fancy board that we are now contemplating removing. It's a work that is still in progress. And we are trying basically, it's not that it's best shape. We have recently had this printed in which we basically, in each round, you place the card, the question that you play in one of these boxes. And the name of these are red alert, no worries, fix it, monitor, in a way so that you categorize the questions like under this 4 perspective. And the decision is done basically on the discussion on the team. In our new rule set, we are trying just to basically rate cards on their own and rather have basically a specific amount of tokens that you can rate cards with. But like this is the current version. Then what you find is like a lot of these beautiful cards, very pretty, I would say. And like, for example, one of the questions would be already this: who are the key players in the client organization? Can we work without access to them? So these are the type of questions that can allow for discussion, like, do we have this covered? Do we need to fix this? Do we have to just monitor it? Like, this is not a problem now. But say that you might want just to embed this regularly and have, like, the challenge that you want to know predictably, like how much time you have. We have these lightning cards, so to say, and the mark is like the type of questions that are definitely more critical and that are the ones that are best suited for quick rounds. I can also show the rewarding cards. Like, the rewards can be like, take the team into the oldest operating pub, for example, like to spend some time. Then there is like the type of card like, embarrass yourself at a karaoke night.
Okay.
Yes. What we have wanted to do, and of course it's still iterating process, is that we try to keep the questions kind of like not organization specific, but at the same time still having the idea that the people practices are still from Futurice. And part of those is the fact on how we get ourselves involved, for example, trying to promote team activities, trying to promote the possibility for teams to establish good communications also outside the boundaries of the normal work.
The next question is regarding of the target audience. How would you describe it? Who would it be?
The target audience for us is teams within organizations. So basically projects that might or might not have a product attached to it. And the audience so is teams that work within an organization that would like to make sure that from time to time do have the possibility to check that their project is headed in the right direction.
What motivates someone to play your game? What do you think?
The times that I personally have played this game and proposed my team to play the game has been to, as I was also mentioning earlier, to lighten up the mood regarding, like, being able to discuss about peculiarities of the project. For me, the main reason to suggest it is, first of all, to try something different, because it's not as common to take a gaming aspect to talk about these things, but also like to have the possibility while talking about work to still be able to bond on a more personal level.
Why did you then choose a physical board game in this more digitalized era?
We are actually contemplating about making this digital, but admittedly, before the Corona times, so to say, there was no particular intention of making this game digital, as the idea within it was exactly to be able to create a connection there, which might be lost a bit on the digital world, because there is a lot that, of course, always compels to nonverbal communication. We have always preferred to have a physical version of the game, because it also in a way forces to get away from the usual day on which you are like in front of your laptop working on your task. This kind of forces everybody to kind of be outside their bubble and be together. Now, of course, with the Corona times, we understand that it's very difficult for people to meet, but we still recognize how good and useful is to ask this type of questions, and that maybe requires a little bit more effort from the participants to try to show engagement, and to be actually engaged in these times in which, like, everything is done online. It can get a bit tiring. We basically want to create a digital version for this as well. It will just need to come in place at later stages.
That was actually the next question. We wanted to ask if it was possible to transform the board game into a digital version, but you already answered it, so it's possible. Would there be any benefits of doing so? What do you think?
I believe the benefits for it is that companies, teams would have the possibility to test this game before making a commitment to buy it. And like many of the digital services, it's really nice to be able to test them before, to have an idea. There is a lot that is brought by the exploratory part of the games. And one thing is like having access to one of these boxes, and then you open it up and then check yourself like the rule book and you have a look at the cards. And if that is not possible, then the very next best thing that allows people to discover is to have these online.
Then, in order to finalize the interview, we would like to talk about future and current and future trends of service design. And what do you think the current trends in service design are?
I don't know how much you might have known about Futurice, but I think the best service design related item that we have is like our lean service creation, which is a set of canvases that allows, yet again, to have people discuss together about certain matters with canvases that propose like specific formats. I have here actually the handbook, and at least for me, the understanding of current trends in a way is like the possibility to, I'm trying to find a canvas that, for example, this is an immersion canvas, and like while it looks very simple as is, the questions that it asks are like, for example, what is your best guess of the customer's problems, needs? And this is again the type of thing that I believe is current, but at the same time also like from Futurice is taken with a very nice twist to it to make it like more timeless, so to say. So it's not even so as a trend, but something that is more timeless. And this type of format allows, yet again, people that have different backgrounds to come up and understand better together, like what is the nature of problems and like, again, what do certain things, goals, perspective mean to each other. About future trends, I am really not sure what to expect in that sense. I believe that there's always like a lot that we have always tried to learn from bigger companies. If anything, I see that bigger companies have a lot of influence on how the trends go. So for example, companies like Google, Facebook do have a lot of influence in the way services, service design is gonna be.
But then last question. Maybe this is not that difficult one, but what kind of possibilities there are with gamified service design in the future?
In a way, a bit like as I was mentioning before, like when the idea of the gamification of services is like to give also better, say, visual feedback about things, goals achieved. So for me, the potential is that there is like a stronger possibility to affect people's behavior to work towards specific goals. For example, if we would think about like gamifying the cleanness of a city, like I believe that it would help a lot for people to see like, I don't know, the number of cans that have been like, properly disposed for every day or something. Like if the city proposed, for example, some screens in which this type of information would be available, and it's like gives me a call to action to contribute to these, and like says, hey, at 100 of these you get, for example, I don't know, level 3 wizard something. Like it's nice, and it brings you the possibility to give people awareness on the things that are done, and it allows you to give an explanation on why.
Just one last question. What is your favorite game? Do you have any?
Project navigation. No.
Yeah, I was expecting to hear that. Yes.
Yeah, no. I am always on a discovery process. Like I really enjoy the idea of having apps that help you with that. And like my favorite ones are always apps that you provide a simple to-do list. And when you are able to complete the to-do list, like you get like the plus 10 points for the day. I am definitely very fascinated by the self-improvement gamification apps.
But well, thank you on behalf of the whole team, and we wish you a great autumn.
Thank you so much for having had this interview with me, Evan, for me being mainly a software developer. I appreciate the possibilities to come to discuss about project navigation game. Thank you very much.
Bye then. Bye-bye.
Bye. Everyone, have a nice day.
You too. Bye.